While sharing your experience, you said that it was shocking to learn about the mistrust and about the wrong conception that people had about United States government. So was there any sort of such perception or stereotype perception that changed while your visit to Nepal, about Nepal?
Frankly, as I mentioned, I had very little understanding and experiences with regard to Nepal. And through reading newspapers over the last several years, I know that there's been a great transition here in Nepal. I suppose the quick answer to that is I was very surprised about the level of politics that is going on here, and not just in the governmental level. I'm referring more to many elements of society that we've seen and met with over these last few days. If I may give an example, teachers, we were told that teachers belong to political parties, and many of the decisions that they make and the schools make have a political perspective to them. And that's a very uncommon experience that we have in the United States. So that was a great surprise to me. And I think it raises the challenges that Nepal faces with regard to the coming constitution that is to be written. I think it's 60 days now. So that surprised me. I think one other thing that surprised me that I was unaware of was the great differences in regional differences across the country, and differences in ethnicity and religion. I was not aware of that, and that was a very interesting thing to hear and to discuss during our meetings. But for me, surprises are a great thing. We are here, after all, to learn about Nepal and to learn about your transition in democracy, and to learn about your rich history and culture. And if I feel that I would not have achieved my mission if I was not surprised about things. And I think certainly over the last few days I have achieved that goal.
Today's Youth Asia, since 2002, creating future leaders for Nepal, connecting young leaders all over the world, making Nepal proud globally. Today's Youth Asia, GPO 8975, EPC 5478, Kathmandu, Nepal. Email address youthmag@doublelink.com.np. Website www.tyasia.org.
Is it difficult for for your organization to continue this program every year with in different parts of the world with changing political conditions?
We have a core slate of programs that every year we know that we do exchanges with. And many of those programs we have worked with for 30 or more years. And we have a very long standing relationship with a partner organization in those countries. So every year we know that we will do these kinds of programs in maybe 10 or so countries. We then have a separate, a next category of programs that we do where we're looking at areas of recent transition, areas where perhaps there has been some conflict recently. And those programs, we will do one program a year. So we will either send an American delegation there or we'll host a delegation from that country. The third category of exchanges will include Nepal, which is a new endeavor for us. And we have been, I mentioned earlier that we work with the U.S. Department of State, and we were talking with them, as we do every year, and they suggested that we do a program with Nepal. So there are challenges for sure in particular parts of the world, but again, we're able to navigate between the lines of what is official and what is not. So in many respects, we get the best of both worlds. We're able to meet with very high-level political parties and political individuals, but also not have that scrutiny that official U.S. delegations would have.
Have you ever faced criticism till now?
On occasion, we do. It's pretty rare, and fortunately, it's pretty rare. On some occasions, our visits will raise certain scrutiny about our intentions and our goals, and it's unfortunate, but we make very clear to our hosts and to people who we meet with that we're not members of the U.S. government, that we are traveling as citizens of the United States and what we call citizen diplomats. We take very important steps to make sure that that is understood. But certainly on occasions, that message has not always been heard. I think overall, our goal and our mission has been warmly received by everybody that we have met with. And certainly, there may be small criticism, but again, I think most of the criticisms are pointed towards our foreign policy and not pointed to us individually and not pointed to the American people. And I'm very grateful for that.
So, do you really affect in your foreign policy?
Well, that's an interesting question. We recently had a transition in our administration. We now have a Democratic president after 8 years of a Republican presidency, and those 8 years were very, critical and challenging for Americans. And we, frankly, entered into 2 wars. In Iraq and Afghanistan that still to this day are being waged in many respects. And that has created great divisions around the world and certainly in the United States. And this administration now has a new set of challenges. I think just speaking for myself and not for anyone else in my organization and certainly not for my U.S. government, I think this is a great opportunity for the administration to speak to the people of the world and to demonstrate, I think, that our interest in certain regions are benevolent and are aimed at promoting democracy and promoting the welfare of everybody.
And have you visited to countries like Iraq and Afghanistan?
No, I have not. And my organization has had some opportunities to do programs in Afghanistan. In fact, about 2 years ago, we hosted a delegation of Afghan officials to the United States, working with the United States Congress. Iraq is a place that we have not had a program yet, but we have been in discussions with the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and the United States State Department to perhaps do a program with those areas.